Let's spend just a moment talking about how to line up our sights or how to align our sights. When we're using mechanical sights such as these, you're going to have a rear sight aperture of some sort and you're going to have a front sight post of some sort. Now, it's most important that the front sight post be clear in your vision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and roll the gun up and I'll be looking through the rear sight aperture at a clear front sight. Now you must understand that the rear sight will be a little bit fuzzy, and that's okay. The most important thing to have clear in your vision is your front sight post. If you're going to spend some time around AR-15 rifles or with AR-15 rifle shooters, you're going to hear the term offset. And you say, what exactly is offset? Offset is the difference between the center line of the bore of your rifle or the barrel and the tip of your front sight or whatever optic you happen to be using. See, what you have here is when I'm looking down my rifle, I see the tip of my front sight, and I think my bullet is going to go exactly right there. Well, when I'm close in, what happens is I have a 2.5-inch drop. So when I'm looking at my front sight, the bullet is actually going to exit the muzzle 2.5 inches below where I'm looking. Now, when does that become really important? Well, it becomes really important if you're close to barricades or cover, because I might be using a barricade or cover or laying over the hood of a truck, looking at my front sight, not realizing that my muzzle is actually 2.5 inches lower, and I end up putting bullets into stuff that shouldn't have bullets in them. Also, if you're very close to your target, let's say I've zeroed this gun at 100 yards, and at 100 yards it shoots point of aim, point of impact, and that's great. However, if I need to shoot at a close target, one that's 10 yards and in, 5 yards and in, what will happen is my bullet will impact 2.5 inches below where my front sight is placed, and that might be a critical thing. Now, if you're going to start adding magnified optics or red dot optics, depending on the model, what you will actually do is you're going to increase your offset. So if I put a magnified optic on my flat top rail, I might actually increase the offset to 3 or even 4 inches, and that's something you need to keep in mind when you're shooting your gun. Well, I don't have the time in this DVD to teach you how to shoot a scoped rifle. I can tell you this: if you're going to use a magnified optic on your gun, there are a couple of things you want to make sure you have correctly. Number one is eye relief. Now, when I shoulder the rifle, I want to check the distance between my eye and the focal lens. If I see a dark circle in there, that tells me that I'm either too close or too far away. And the great thing about a setup like this is I can either move the scope forward or rearward, or I can move the stock forward or rearward if I have a retractable stock version. Now, when I mount the scope, I want to make sure that my head is centered and that I don't have any hard shadow on the left or a hard shadow on the right.